trial for Amazon Prime. You don't have to pay a cent and you'll get to watch all the rugby this weekend. Before we do that, please do smash a like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. Now, the big news is that Amazon Prime is got the rights for the entire Autumn Nation series, which I think is about 25 odd games, or even more than that potentially, over the next sort of couple of weekends, and some pretty amazing matches. And the big one for this weekend is the world champions, the Springboks, taking on your currently #1 ranked side in the world. And the big question is, how do I watch this game? So first of all, you're going to download a VPN, and we recommend ExpressVPN. Link in the description. We've got a special offer for you. You get 12 months, you get 3 months free, and it just does work. So you're going to download ExpressVPN, and you get a little pop-up that looks like this. You're going to go to those little 3 dots on the right-hand side where you get to choose which location. You're going to go select UK as your location. You're then going to turn it on. You're going to press that big button in the middle, and then you're going to click. You're going to sign up you're going to go to Amazon Prime. You're going to use the link in the description. You're going to sign up. For example, there's a website there. It'll ask you for a UK address. It'll give you a couple of random addresses you can use. They do work. I've literally signed up for it using myself. And you're then going to click the link in the description. Once you've sort of activated that free trial, you literally sign up here, pay later, no credit card or whatever, for Amazon Prime. And you click the link on the description to the anniversary of that game. And there it is. Literally, there is the page. And it says, watch live at 6:30. SAST, that's when it goes live. It's got Brian and Banner in the studio, stuff like that, so it's really, really cool way of watching it. And you can watch, as you can see, all the various games which are included. So all the entire Autumn Nation series is included. So for a 30-day free trial with Amazon, you can watch all the action without having paying anything. But you do need a VPN. We do recommend ExpressVPN. All these instructions are in the comments, or in the description rather, so go and check it out. Let me know if you have any questions down in the comments below, but we'll see you guys this weekend for the watch along. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steven. I'll chat to you soon. And we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. It is a Wednesday, and we are, like 3 days away from arguably one of the biggest test matches of the year. Not biggest sort of South Africa test match, but one of the biggest test matches of the year, as the world champions, the Springboks, take on the current #1 in the world side, which is Ireland, this weekend. And should be an absolute cracker of a match. And unfortunately, sort of boringly, the Springbok coaches have selected a side which hasn't generated a lot of controversy. Which, it's almost, as I said, it's almost a bit boring, because the entire year, we sort of spend every single week debating about all the wrong decisions they've made, and how the side is not good enough, and they picked the wrong players and stuff like that. But for the first time this sort of year, we basically, it doesn't seem too much of that. There seems to be very much, we've picked the side that makes sense. So, I think it's quite an interesting sort of reaction to that. The fact that there hasn't necessarily been a massive reaction against it, and I think that if we were to win this weekend, I think the Springbok coaches will get a lot of credit for it, and which they haven't always necessarily had. I think a lot of people this year have been very much sort of, we won games despite some of the decisions the coaches have made, which, whether it's fair or not, we can debate till the cows come home. But I do think that we have, within the squad that we've got, gone and picked a side which I don't think gets much better, and I think that's the important thing. I think that there are a couple of selections you could sort of almost kind of nitpick, but it really would be nitpicking. There's a couple of sort of small details within the side that need to be worked out. The big sort of question is who's going to kick the goal, for example. Is Damien Phillips going to be backed? Is Jaden Hendricks going to kick? Is Chesney Colby going to kick, for example? So there are a couple of sort of what's that? I mean, goal kick is not minor by any means. But there are sort of maybe some smaller details within the 23 in terms of who player roles are going to be, but there doesn't seem to be a lot of opposition towards the 23 itself. And even the opposition there is, it's literally like, maybe I would have liked to see this player, but I think that every selection that has been made, it's quite easy to justify it. It's quite easy to explain it. And it's one of those things where once you do explain it, you don't really have much of a counter argument towards it. Everybody's going, oh, why is Jesse Creel playing? Well, who's else going to play? Henk and Vegas played about 4 or 5 games this season. Kids 20 years old, and we'll play in the SAA league. So everybody's like, okay, cool. Let's see if you can do it in the SA side. Then maybe you might get a game against Italy, for example. Cornel Hendricks is the only sort of other real viable option at 13. Hasn't played Springbok rugby in 2 to 3 years. And if you're being genuinely honest, the match against the world number ones is probably not the time to throw somebody who hasn't been around the box setup for very long into sort of the deep end. And he's not actually in the Springbok squad. He's in the SAA squad. So from the Springbok squad, I don't think his team gets much better. A couple of nitpicking decisions. Some people were saying that they would have liked to have seen a natural 10 on the bench. Again, I really like Monty Liebach. I think he will be a Springbok by the end of the year. This is not a particularly nice game to be able to throw somebody on the bench and say, cool, come on into the last 20 minutes against the number one side in the world and see out a game. And I think that what the coaching staff have always done traditionally is they generally do introduce players into a setup quite intelligently, and it's very unpopular the way they do it. But I don't think that there have been too many players who have sort of been thrown to the wolves necessarily. Some players have had to sort of really sink or swim, and that kind of comes down to sort of circumstance and stuff like that. For example, Kurt Lawrence in his debut this year, a couple of injuries and stuff like that, and all of a sudden we kind of had to go with him because Spoon Corsi was injured, Jason Colby got injured, Warwick Galant was struggling a little bit, and so that we said, right, well, then Kurt Lawrence is going to get a shot. But I don't think Monty Liebach I think Monty Liebach will be a Springbok. I think that we'll see him later on in the tour. Because, for example, we're not going to see Jason Colby for that England test. We're not going to see Andre Esterhuizen involved around there. There's quite a few sort of outside backs who might not be available for that final test. So I think maybe you might see Monty Liebach playing against Italy, for example, coming off the bench. I'll be very surprised to see Sachin Gomezulu playing for the Boks, unless we do look to try and cap him. But I think the three players who I've sort of seen have sort of seemed to be the most talked about is Pieter-Steph du Toit at 7, Jessica Kriel at 13, and the inclusion. A couple of people were asking about the inclusion of Billy Leroux on the bench. I actually really enjoyed Billy Leroux off the bench, to be honest. I think that, again, I think Billy Leroux, a bit like Jessica Kriel, sort of became the thing to not like him. But I think if you're being brutally honest, Billy Leroux's had a much better year this year than he did last year, for example. And coming off the bench has proved to be very effective. And I think that given the fact that Jason Colby's not playing his first game at 15, for the Boks, by the way, I mean, he's played there 15. He played at 15 a lot at club level. I think it's something like, almost a third of his games he actually has played at fullback throughout his domestic career. So that's not an issue. But I think the experience of Billy Leroux is going to be paramount. And I think that's also, a couple of people are sort of saying, well, maybe Kouros ran out ahead of Faf de Klerk. Faf's defense for me is probably what gets him onto the bench. That sort of rush defense, that scramble defense he brings, for example, the speed in the defense he brings. As the game opens up, I think he'll be very important defensively, which is probably what gets him the nod ahead ahead of Kouros Reinach. Jaden Hendricks getting the nod ahead of Faf de Klerk. I think tactically he's probably a little bit better at the moment, probably more on song. I do think it will be quite a sort of tactical arm wrestle this weekend. Pieter-Steph du Toit, another sort of selection which is causing a little bit of debate, but at the end of the day, I think people are more on people. The nice thing is, and I think we're seeing a bit of a shift in the fan mentality. People aren't saying he shouldn't be playing. People are saying he's under pressure. I don't mind that. I don't mind. You can sit there saying, well, he's a former world number one player of the year. We can understand why he's been picked. He's shown glimpses of that this year. Hasn't quite been at his best. So people are saying, right, well, he needs to perform, and 100% he does need to perform. But you're not going to sit there saying, why are you picking a world player of the year in the starting lineup? I don't think there's too much debate about that. On current form, I think Frank Mossy is playing better rugby. But if Pieter-Steph du Toit arrives and puts in the Pieter-Steph performance that we know, he could be one of the most important players. He could very well be a man of the match performance this weekend. And again, Malcolm Mark starting, Stephen Kitsov starting as well. That seems to sort of now become the inevitable selection. So I personally really like the team. And I also really enjoy the inclusion of Deon Fourie, because I do think that at the breakdowns later on in the game, it's going to be very important. And we're going with two out-and-out fetchers coming off the bench in Kwagga Smith and Deon Fourie. So the breakdowns are going to be an absolute menace towards that stage of the game. So I think I saw it on Twitter. Somebody was saying that the big sort of word that when you look at the Springbok 23 is balance, and it does look like one of the most balanced sides that we've had. A couple of debates about whether Fly-half is an issue, but Fly-half is always an issue. Daniel Willis starting at fly-half, not a position he's played a lot in the last 12 months. Actually didn't play anything domestically at fly-half last season. Only played at 12 and 15. So And then you got Ches and Colby, who's sort of reserve fly half. But at the end of the day, we are in a fly half crisis. So there was always, even if you're putting Mine Ebok in, for example, who is an out-and-out fly half, he never play for the Box. It'll be a test debut, for example, if you're a star, even if you're coming off the bench. So there was always going to be issues with the fly half depth, and we knew that before we even named the side. We knew that as soon as we got into the plane, no Andre Pollard, no Alton Yankees, Jan Goosen, still trying to come back. All sort of the normal, the Big Ten options not really available at the moment. So I'm going to try something also. I want to try this Q&A feature. I don't know how this works. In fact, I'm actually going to keep that for tomorrow. I'm actually going to figure out how it works. I think it's just when you just replying to comments, stuff like that. But unless I'm asking the question. I don't know. But let's go through some of the comments. Maybe we'll take a little bit of a poll as well. Tim Van Berg saying, Stevie, absolutely agree with you. Seen pretty much no one complaining about the side outside of Creel haters. The Ultra Sharpshooter saying, yep, I don't think I've seen one person really disagree with the squad besides the irrational notion of dropping Creel for Andre Estes or Fresh Henko. 100%. I'm not used to the Box game starting this late unless they're in Argentina. We can only decide if they get out once we have seen them on the field. Janae, yeah, but I think, again, we'll only know for sure if it's right, but you also can't be that person where you sit there going, well, I'll reserve judgment until the day. You actually also have to be brave enough to say, you know what, with who's available, they've selected the right players. If players don't pitch up, for example, and they don't play well on the day, that's fine. But you can't decide. You do have to be able to say right now, on the face of it, I think they picked the right team. And I think that's what we're talking about, is that right now, I look at that team and think they picked the right team. That there are basically no selections that I disagree with. And if certain players don't pitch up on the day, certain players don't pitch on the day. But it's harsh for me to sit there saying, well, we reserve judgment until the weekend, because the coach can only control so much. At the end of the day, Curtly Arntzen runs on this weekend and misses 4 tackles that lead to 4 tries. Curtly Arntzen's had a bad game. You can't go and say, well, they should have never picked him because he deserved to be picked. On form, that's what I'm saying. If you look at the side on form, maybe PSF Tour under a little bit of pressure. Jason Creel is the obvious candidate at 13. Defensive orientated 13. He was one of the best defensive 13s in the world. And if you watch the way that Ireland play, very dynamic, very much keeping ball alive, lots of loops around, lots of different sort of attacking angles they use, different sort of attacking patterns. You've got to have somebody with that's very good defensively. And he is good defensively. If you don't think he is, you don't want to think he is, to be honest. People, and it makes no sense to me. He got a knee to the head at Ellis Park and had to go off for concussion, and all of a sudden he's a terrible rugby player and can't tackle. Even the concussion where he actually ended up bringing down Caleb Clark. Yeah, yes, he went down in the process. But since then, the 2 games he has played at outside centre, just by the way, he's defended very well. Made a couple of very important tackles, and also what's very important from a 13 point of view is your defensive makeup and your defensive organization. And I think that he has organized the defense pretty well when he has played. So I think again, he is the obvious candidate to play. Janae says, how's about will we ever see Henk van Wyk in the green jersey? Well, we'll see him in the SAA jersey for 2 games in a row. Whether he'll get a cap this tour, I don't know. He might if he plays well, and if for example, if there are injuries and stuff like that, they might have to fast track him. You never know. But in terms of will we ever, 100%. Henk van Wyk's a Bok within the next 2 years. I don't think that's a what if. I don't think that's a maybe. I don't think that's possibly. If he stays fit and continues playing like he is right now, he's a Springbok within 2 years. If it wasn't for the World Cup next year, I would say within the next year. But for example, if Kanya comes back next year, you have to sit there going, right, Kanya your first choice 13. He's going to play probably about 80% of the matches. If you do want to look at depth, Henk van Wyk will have to make himself the second choice 13 if he wants to get Bok cap next year. At this rate, it's Jesse Creel. If Jesse Creel continues playing pretty solidly, then he will be the second choice 13 for the World Cup. Unless Henk van Wyk continues to blow the lights out and they go and decide it's worth taking him to the World Cup and backing him as the second choice 13. Or signs point towards him being able to do that, to be honest. The way he started, I don't think he would be out of his depth if he went into the box on Saturday. But he's very young in his career, and I don't mind the fact that he's not necessarily playing. I think people get far too antsy about their favorite players who are playing well, having to sort of play immediately. We saw with Evan Lewis, we're now seeing with Sachin Gomezulu. I put a tweet out just basically saying that I do think that Eddie Jones's interest in Sachin Gomezulu has played a role in being picked, and people are like going after me about, oh no, he's generational talent. He's going to be a superstar. He's going to be the next Stan Carter. The kid's played like 5 professional matches. He's never once played flower half at this level, just by the way. I'm saying domestic level, never played flower half, and he's had 2 stars to his name. And if we're going to be very harsh against the Lions this weekend, I thought he had a very good first half, but a very good second half, very average first half. So I do think he's got all the talent in the world to be a fantastic Springbok. I do think he's going to play 50 plus tests for the Boks. I do think he will be a flower half. I do think he'll be a Springbok flower half. Is he on form the best option we've got in his position? Probably not. If we're being brutally honest, Buddha Chamberlain, Johnny Lombard, Jordan Hendrickson, Rob De for example, Siya Masuku even, have all played much more rugby at 10, which is where everybody reckons he is. And right now he's not a flower half, or even being picked as a flower half. He's never played flower half at URC level. Yeah, he played inside centre and did some goal kicking up against Zebra, but he's never played flower half at URC. And so, for example, somebody was saying, well, who would you rather have? And he's in the Boks squad as an outside back. So I can tell you right now who I'd rather have on form and experience, and right now, Raymond Roulet or Dylan Lace, both outside backs, utility backs, for example. Raymond Roulet can play at outer centre and on both wings. He and Dylan Lace play for the European champions in the top 14. Those two are probably form picks over Sachin Gomezulu. They are. They just are. You can argue to the cows come home. They are. So all I said is that, and again, you don't want to be able to do it. I said it's unfortunate if it does play a role, but I think you're stupid if there is a small chance that he might go play for England. I think you'd be stupid not to sit there saying, okay, cool, let's bring him involved, let's get him involved here, let's tell him that we believe in him, and let's lock him down for the future. Because when he does fulfill his potential, like Daniel Willemse is doing right now, then we know that we've got him for the future. So I don't know why people got so triggered by the fact that there was any suggestion that played a role. Because if we're being brutally honest, as I said, this kid, and I've watched him a lot, he's got everything he needs, but he's barely played at this level. He really has. And yes, and people keep bringing up examples. Oh, well, Andre Pollard was fast track. Andre Pollard played Currie Cup and then a full Super Rugby season before playing for the Boks. He had actually started at 10 3 times before he made his debut against Scotland. People talking about Frans Steyn. Frans Steyn played a full Currie Cup season before he went on the end of year tour with the Boks. So even the examples people use. Oh, what about Kane Moody? Kane Moody, I think, played 700-800 minutes before he played for the Boks. To put it in perspective, Johan Goosen didn't make the Boks squad because they said he just didn't play enough minutes. That was why it was. They said that's why he didn't make the Boks squad. They said he just didn't play enough. He's played the same amount of minutes this season as Sachin Gomezulu have. Just to throw it out there. That's how little Sachin Gomezulu has played. About 260 minutes, I think it was. And that's a lot of that's because of the 80 minutes he put in the last weekend. So, but when he got picked, he had played like 160 minutes, something like that. So he's not played a lot of rugby. So does he got all the time in the world? Yes. Should he be part? Will he be a Springbok? Fantastic. Should he be part of the SAS squad? No issue whatsoever. All I'm saying is, if you think that, the fact that he could be on England's radar didn't play a small part in the selection, you're kidding yourself. But let's go see some of the other comments. Ricardo was saying basically I have 5 fullbacks in the team: Willie, Colby, Willemse, Orense. JC could have left out Willie and put it. I wouldn't call it. JC Creel's not a fullback anymore. He hasn't played fullback in about 5 years. So, and I think even if they are fullbacks, for example, I think the important thing is that Willie Leroux is a playmaker. He's a first receiver. He's someone that attacks space. Curtly Orense doesn't do that. Jason Creel doesn't do that. I'm interested to see how Colby does that this weekend, for example. And then obviously we know that Willemse does that, but that's why Willemse was making sense for Villarreal, because he plays in that playmaker role where he can take up first receiver, he can come and join the attacking line, he kind of runs from deep, spots a bit of space, can sort of see where the space is, move it through the hands, distribute, for example. Your Orances, your Jesse Creels, they're not going to do that. Even your Spoon Corsies, for example, and that doesn't mean they're bad players. They've just got very different skill sets. So I think that's why Billy LaRue's on. He's being brought on as a playmaker, as someone who can read the match awareness, can spot where the space on, can help guard the attack and stuff like that. That's probably where the Billy LaRue sort of really comes in clutch and brings his wealth of experience. Ultra says no problem. Ultimately, 95% of the investor cash between 2007 and 21 is gone, 100%. Mario saying, good evening, Mario. Hope you're well. No fun is not playing. Amani saying, my concern is goal kicking. Yeah, I'm interested to see who's going to kick for goal. Whether they're going to back Damian Willemse, or whether Ches and Colby and Jaden Hendricks have been spending half an hour after every training session practicing. And that could very well be the case. We need like a Mariano Bafeli. Like just like a wing that's just unbelievably deep at goal kicking. So it sort of takes away all these issues. But Albert saying, Ruiz doesn't look like a team player, not very likable even among his own team. France will be at the World Cup. I would say these players being called for like Liverpool isn't exactly head and shoulders than current players in the 23. Yeah, I agree with that. I think he's playing well, but it's not like, oh my goodness, how is Damian Willemse playing at 10 because Moin Liebach's been so phenomenal and Damian Willemse has been so terrible. I think that's the big thing. There is no like massive, how could you not select this player because he's just doing so much better than everybody else. I don't think there's much between all the various players in the squad. Dave said, Creel is a great defender and does the basics right. Amber's a great defender and it's X Factor, maybe reads the game better. But Jesse is solid enough to do the job that's needed. No complaints. Deathstroke saying, Wales were All Blacks this weekend. I reckon the Wales could do a job, House says, Miles Porkita is going to leapfrog Henko, Estes, and Ruan Jans from France back up by the end of the URC. I think that's a very, very big call. I think he's a good player, but yeah, say he's going to leapfrog Henko and Vake and the likes. Also, Henko, Estes, and Ruan. You've listed two inside centers and an outside center. So which position is he leapfrogging into? I also say Scotland surely can't beat New Zealand before Wales. Do you think we will beat Ireland? I don't know. I will have to wait and see. I wouldn't say I'm confident. I'd say I like the team, and I think that the team that we've got's got everything it needs to beat Ireland. But we also know Ireland are a very good side. What's the score prediction? I'll make my score prediction when I do my official preview, which will probably be out tomorrow. Aaron's saying Sasha's there for growth based on potential and possibly the England issue. He probably won't make the match 23. Gerard says, Steve, you ever think of doing an underrated SA players video analysis type thing overseas and local? Yeah, we could do that. Maybe look at one of the live streams for next week to try and do it. The problem is when it comes to international season, it's just so busy. We don't usually have too much time. But who would I put in like an underrated 15 players like, for me, like Steve Tatole, probably about Dylan Lates and Raymond Rulio. Not that I wouldn't say they're necessarily underrated because all the fans exactly are after them, but they just don't seem to be getting opportunity at international level. Lots of people saying that David Creel is very underrated. Yeah, it'd be quite interesting to sort of talk about all the players who we think could be more highly rated. Yeah, the whole kit issue is going to be. I don't understand. Your home color is green. You're playing against the dark green side, and so you go and make a navy or dark blue. I don't even know what it is. Almost jersey. So the kit clash is going to be a massive issue. How they can't go for white, I just don't understand. And I remember there being a white Irish kit, and it was you look at the Irish kit and it's a nice kit. Just literally reverse it. Is it that hard? Or even the when they had that sort of like a mauve color kit, for example, just go and get that. Or what is this flippin' navy crap? Which is like the same color as the Bok jersey. I don't understand. but what are we going to do? Eh? What are we going to do? We'll have to see how that plays out this weekend. Asman says, going into an international game without a recognized goal kicker is it's amateur. No team, even from school level, goes into a game and then say, okay, I'll try a few kicks and then you'll try a few kicks. Well, how do you know? Maybe they've sorted it. Maybe Jaden Hendricks is just going to be the goal kicker this weekend. Maybe someone's slotting them from everywhere in the field in the last couple of weeks. And we'll see this weekend. Let's not decide that they're not going, that they don't have a dedicated goal kicker before we actually see if they do have a dedicated goal kicker. What's the England issue? Just the fact that Eddie Jones mentioned his name because I think he's got a grandfather. He is eligible to play for England if you wanted to, for example. So yeah, now Eddie Jones sort of dropped his name to say that maybe he could play for England one day. Jean says, age a major factor in your opinion when it comes to playing for the Blocker players like Arne Boerta, Alstad, Carr. I think that Dion Fourie, Dwayne Vermeulen, for example, those guys have pretty much proven that I don't think age a massive factor. Dion Fourie specifically. Dion Fourie wasn't even on the Block radar a year ago, and now he's going to go to the World Cup. So I think if there's one coaching staff who actually value experience and actually like older players, it is probably the Box setup. I think they really place a lot of emphasis on experience, on caps, on building caps into players and stuff like that. That's very much what sort of the DNA is right now. So I don't think that it's age that's playing against them. Yeah, I've actually got the Bangladesh game over here, and Buggers are playing at the moment. I think I need 85 or 56, 72 for one, top chasing 151. And yeah, I mean, Shakib hasn't faced a ball yet, but Shanta's going a bit slowly, but there was a very nice first start, so it'd be quite cool if Bangladesh would have beat India. Connor's saying, it's going to be for you. They've lost opponents, kit suppliers, time iron, dish them for better kit suppliers. Well, I'm hoping that Nike's going to do the business for us. That is why do we have a team announcement on Tuesdays, but not the other teams? I couldn't get the Irish 15 yesterday this morning, nor other countries. Basically, it's like the weirdest thing. There was 1 week, it was during the British and Irish Lions series, where the team was leaked. Or was it this year? No, I'll say that. I know, there were a couple of, I think it was actually this year, I think it was first Welsh game, where the team was leaked. And ever since then, we've decided that we're just going to put it on Tuesday. Yeah. And they're just saying, stuff it. If instead of worrying about, leaks and speculation, we'll just put it on Tuesday. Obviously, it seems to be working for them, so each to their own, I suppose. Each to their own. Jean says, how would you rate those three players' chances I mentioned for possible call-out given the good form seems to disappear? Honorable Alstad and Carr. Well, I think Alstad's obviously still already on the radar. I don't know about Arne Boerta. I think you obviously have to come back quite strongly after injury. I don't think that, for example, like a Boerta and Carr, who are not currently on the Rock radar, are going to be in the World Cup mix. We pretty much got a very good idea. I don't think there are any players who, outside of the current 55 and those injured, who are really in the World Cup mix. I don't think a Pepsi Buthelezi is in the World Cup mix. I don't think a Franco Horn's in the World Cup mix. A Ruan Fenta is in the World Cup mix. Johnny Lombard, Jordan Hendricks are probably not in the World Cup mix at the moment. When you think that we're taking I think it's a 33 or 34 man squad. We've got to cut down 20 from the squad we've got currently, and then we've got Nakanya Am to come back, Honja Pala to come back. If Alton Yankees gets himself back on form and he comes back, there's a lot of players who are currently injured to still come back. So we're looking at like sort of 60 to 65 players that the box was saying that the box manager was saying that they've kind of used over the last sort of 2 years, and those are your World Cup candidates. So for example, if you're in the SAA squad, I think that you are within the box World Cup reckoning. They even said it. They said that you go and play well for the SAA squad, you can get yourself onto the World Cup radar. That's what you're out there to do. That's what's out there. That's like the little cherry that's been dangled out. But I think if you're not coming on this SAA side, unless there are lots of injuries, for example, I don't see how you are making that World Cup. Because there are so many people who are who are around the. I mean, we basically have to halve the amount of people before. But yeah, where are we at? Heard you might be going with Nike next year, and that Essex playing Rail Rugby. Any thoughts? You are going for Nike. That's already been confirmed. I did a couple of mocks to see what they could potentially look like a couple of weeks ago. Actually, go check on Twitter if you want to go check that out. So yeah, we have got a Nike jersey that will come out next year. Drain CEO say Argentina plus 15 handicap bet is tasty for England. Yeah, that's not a bad shot. Ricardo says Hinker will play World Cup. JC will be out depending on his performance now. Do you think SAA can beat Munster and Bristol? They definitely can. The question is whether they can get together and sort of sort their playing patterns and mold the team in time to be able to beat those sides. But also, obviously, it's not going to be the strongest Munster and Bristol sides because they will be missing all the internationals. Never underestimate how a side who plays a lot of rugby together can sometimes have the edge. I saw something in the media about talks of Aussies and New Zealand coming together for British National Alliance Tour. Yeah, it looks like it will be. They're exploring the possibility of a once-off combined team for a test during the British National Alliance series. I don't know if I like it or not. It could be quite fun, I suppose, as a once-off. I don't think that'd be very good because I don't think they'd have a lot of time to prepare. I think if you look at the British National Alliance tours, when you watch the documentaries and you read about them, it's all about being able to sort of come together and play together. And I think that for them, it's like a 4 or 5 week process before the first test match of trying to gel as a squad. And a combined New Zealand Australian side won't have that sort of timing to really sort of get it right. Millen isn't a jackal anymore. Wow, he's just turnover on the weekend. Kutab saying they don't have forwards called an Anzac team. It's a true shame then because they either maintain consistency or improve. Can't remember when last either of them had a bad game. Not capable to cost us an important match. Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, you can only select so many players. So, for example, if Frank Mostert is dropping 8 out of 10s for the box, and Pierre Steph Toy returns to form, then yeah, Arno Burt and the likes are playing very well, but a lot of people are playing badly. It's usually sort of more the issue if you've got like somebody who's like, and that's what everybody was saying about Billy LaRue when he wasn't playing particularly well, is that there are other players who are playing very well. Why aren't we going there? If the players are playing well, then it doesn't really matter what other guys are doing all around the circuit. People like complaining about Evan Ruiz, but you've got Jasper Wiese who's playing really well for the Boks and was playing phenomenal rugby for Leicester. So you can kind of understand why there's been that sort of snub. Why isn't Gelant in the SAA squad? Gelant asked not to be picked apparently. Wants to sort of settle into the top 14, and so sort of made himself unavailable for this tour. Which is why he's not involved. I personally think I think that's going to cost him a World Cup spot. I don't think he's ready in the World Cup ranking. I think Curtly Orange has gone ahead of him. And I think that him not being involved this night, even in the SAA squad, means that I don't see how he gets to that World Cup squad. Contender says, can I predict potential second half backline? 9 Leclerc, 10 Hendricks, 12 Willems, 13 David Delandy, Colby for 11 Orange, 14, 15 LaRue. Yeah, I don't think we'll see that unless there are injuries, to be honest, but you never know. Jonas says, Superior Munster is even not the best to go in the SAA squad. Crony's saying SA should forget about Pollard. If Williams saying Colby go well this weekend, then the Springbok career should be over. Let's see how he comes back against in after injury. I'd be very surprised if he's fit and not starting on our World Cup campaign next year. But you never know. You never know. Strange things have happened. We're going to wrap it up there for today, people. Thank you very much for jumping on. Always a pleasure to chat. Tomorrow we'll hopefully have an Irish squad by the time we go live. If not, we'll have to do our official weekend preview on Vrijdag. We will be having how to watch videos out tomorrow for all the big matches this weekend. We're going to be live for a lot of rugby. Chart. Oh, he's out. That's going to influence that for this. Yeah, so we will have how to watch videos for all the games. We're going to be live for all the major alternation series video games, as well as the 7-7s throughout the weekend, which should be quite cool. So keep an eye out for all of that, and we will see you guys tomorrow, same time, or we might actually, depending. So if we do, we might be going live tomorrow for the cricket. So if we do that, we might not go live for a rugby show tomorrow. We have to wait and see, because you might be doing the Pakistan versus the Proteas game tomorrow morning, which could be quite fun actually. So we have to wait and see exactly what's going to happen there. But yeah, please do keep safe. Please do smash like on the video and subscribe on the way back. We are trying to chase 21,000 subscribers by the end of this weekend. So go and nail your colors to the mast and go and subscribe right now. And I'll see you guys all.
I'm good.
Jacques, just a question on 6-2 split on the bench. You guys have gone back to the bomb squad. Is there a reasoning for that? And then just Cheslin Colby at 15. He obviously hasn't played for the Springboks at 15 before. Played for Western Province and the Stormers. Can you tell us the reasoning for that as well? Thanks.
Mubin, no, listen, the reason for the 6-2 split, obviously, we had a good look at the strengths of Ireland, and we feel the combination of the 6-2 split and also the combination that we selected at the back field or the back three is probably going to give us the best possible advantage against Ireland. So, yeah, that's the reason for the 6-2 split. We all know Ireland, probably one of their strengths is their multi-phase attack, their fitness, the speed of their breakdown. So obviously, we think that selecting that combinations, will serve us the best. And then your question regarding Cheslin, Cheslin at fullback, he was actually, I would probably say after about 3 or 4 games since he started with us in 2018, Cheslin was always a realistic option for us at 15 and trained at 15 often for us. We were just never forced or forced to play him there, so not forced, but I mean it was never the opportunity for us to play him there. So but like I said, we feel that this specific game, having Cheslin at fullback will serve us the best.
Jan de Koning.
Thank you, Zina. Thank you, Jacques. Jacques, just to follow up on that, I mean, you touched briefly on the threat that Ireland pose with their multi-phase game. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. They obviously pose a threat to their multi-phase game, and no team ever plays to lose. But what aspect of their game do you think threatens you the most, and where you need to be the most careful of going into the game?
Yes, I think if you look at Ireland across the board, there's a reason why they're number 1 currently in the world, and they've beaten New Zealand in New Zealand. I think they've got a well-balanced game. They obviously, everybody sees their attack and how well they attack and how they keep the ball in hand, but you know what? They're the best defensive side in the world currently, conceding the least tries, least points. So, and that's why I don't think you can put your finger on one thing. I think they're well balanced, and that's why they're number 1 in the world. And that's why it's so important not important for us, but that's why it's such a challenge for us as players and as coaches to come and compete against Ireland in Ireland, in the Aviva, which is also a little bit of a, I would say, a fortress for them. So yeah, it's a nice challenge a year out before World Cup, in knowing that we're going to play them in our pool stages within the World Cup.
Nathan.
Thank you, Zim. Can you guys hear me? Sorry.
Yep.
Hi, Jock. Just sticking to the front row. Regularly, you had that unit, as you call it, Kitsi, Malcolm, and France on the bench as part of the bomb squad. But now you elevated them to start. Was this decision taken knowing the Ireland's strengths, as you mentioned? They did do fairly well against the ABs as well down in New Zealand.
Sorry, just your question is regarding the props that were normally in the bomb squad that's now starting. That was your question,
yes,
am I right?
Yes, that's correct. And obviously, then the Irish team doing very well in New Zealand. I mean, do you use that as a factor as well?
Yeah, and I think if you look at the front row that we've gone with, it's probably if you look at the last couple of games that or last couple of test matches that we've played, we went with consistency there. And like I said, I think the combinations that we selected in terms of the guys starting and the guys coming off the bench, I think those combinations are probably best suited for us in trying to combat the strengths and to utilize our opportunities playing against Ireland.
Right.
Thanks, Ina. Hi, Jacques. Hope you're well. Just going back to Cheslin, does he also cover as fly half for this game? I know Villy's on the bench, can also play there. And also, it's just maybe the smallest back three you've chosen in a long while with Kirtley and Cheslin in terms of sort of sheer height when you think of Kane and Moody or Villy himself. Is there anything to read into that as well?
Your first question was regarding does Cheslin cover fly off us?
Yeah.
Yes. Obviously, with us going with a 6-2 split, Cheslin will be our fly off cover, and he's obviously with us doing roadmaps on the players and doing performance analysis, he's been utilised. Although it is at top 14 level or club level, he's been utilised as fly-off often, especially for Toulouse. When the French team managed Inzamam, he stepped in and played fly-off for them quite often. Obviously he's a very skillful player, and that's the nice thing, having the versatility of a guy like Cheslin that can play fullback for you, can play wing for you, can cover you at fly-off. And especially if you want to utilize a 6-2 split, that's quite important. And then in terms of the back three, the only difference there is probably, I think, I don't know, I probably, I don't know the centimeters, but probably Cheslin is a little bit shorter than Villy, but Mapimpi is still the same. And when we played against New Zealand, obviously, Kirtley was there. So, I think they probably in stature a little bit shorter than what we used to, but unfortunately, or not, that's with Kane being out, that's the cards we've been dealt with. And we quite, I'm comfortable that they will be able to handle whatever Ireland throws their way.
Russell?
Hi there, Jack. Nice to meet you. Just a couple of a two-pronged question, if I can. First of all, is there a different dynamic to the game, given the fact you're both in the same World Cup group? Are the little moves, things you need to work on that you almost need to keep aside and not show? And also just the question of the statement for the Springboks to come to the Northern Hemisphere, and with the World Cup to come, with a huge series of games to come, how important is it to put in a massive, big first performance against that top team in the world?
Russell, yes, I think for both teams, I mean, this will be quite a big game, especially if you have a little bit of a eye on the World Cup. We obviously are contesting pools against each other, or against each other in the same pool. So I think from both sides, it will be quite important for them and for us to have a proper performance. And in terms, and like I've mentioned before, I think it is pretty much, I think, what you would like a year out before World Cup. You want to play the number one team in the world away from home, and you want to test yourself against them. And feeding on and moving on to your follow-up question in terms of how big the series is, yes, or this end of year tour for us is, we are playing some proper teams. Ireland week 1, number 1 in the world. Then the French, Six Nations champion, week 2 in the world. Then we play Italy, and we all saw what Italy did in the Six Nations against Wales in the last game. And then we move on to England, who's I don't know where they're at currently, but this is exactly, I think, what you need. We are happy that we have a tour like this because before you go into a World Cup, and I think for everybody, this will be a big tour for us, for Ireland, for England, for all the teams that's touring, New Zealand, Australia, because you want to build some momentum going into the World Cup.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Z. Hello, Jock. Hi, Louis. Jock, just on the newbies that you have in the squad, how tempting was it to give some of them a run in the first game, or was it just to first pick the strongest side, get the November tests on the roll with them?
Yeah, Lethan, I think the thing with the younger guys, I think a lot of coaches in this on this end of year tour for a lot of nations will have some younger players within their squad, because I think some of us will still have maybe you're still looking. You settled with your number 1 and 2 choice, but you want to find out who's number 3. Hopefully, you settled with number 1 and 2 choice, and you maybe want some answers on your number 3. But I reckon there's different ways in how you can introduce your newbies. I think if you go back to what we did in the second Test match against Wales and Bloemfontein, we introduced a whole lot of them in one game, and then the other way is how we did it now. I would say in the rugby championship, where you introduce one new player in a settled environment, like we did with a guy like Kirtley, with Kanan. So yeah, we introduced them one by one. So I think we will. We will probably go that route if there is some answers that we need in certain positions. And I think the guys, yes, we are certainly happy with the effort they're putting in currently and the energy they bring within training sessions. But I think they'll probably, depending on how things work out and depending on injuries and a lot of factors, we will probably introduce them as we see it fit. And sometimes your hands is for, sometimes it is not. So we've got they're with us, they're working hard, and we will introduce them whenever we feel the time's right.
Guys, unfortunately, we are running out of time for the online section questions. So what I am going to do just for our media at home in Afrikaans is just ask Jacques to just sum up your team announcement in Afrikaans. And then Louis, for you, just, what are you expecting and, in this game against Ireland in Afrikaans?
Weet jy, dis vir ons dit gaan vir ons eerstens oor die toets teen Ierland in Ierland. Dit gaan 'n lekker uitdaging vir ons weet. Ierland is tans nommer 1 in die wêreld, jy weet. Hulle het Nieu Zeeland gewen vir die eerste keer in hulle geskiedenis. En ons verwag 'n tawwe stryd teen Ierland. En dan ook in terme van die span wat ons gekies het, ek dink as mens kyk na die kombinasies, veral in ons agterste 3 en jy kyk na die 6-2 split wat ons gekies het en die kombinasies wat op die bank is, dink ons dit is die kombinasies wat vir ons die beste gaan dien teen Ierland en teen die strengths wat Ierland gaan bied. En ons sien baie uit na die wedstryd.
Ja, ek dink vir ons as spelers te groot toets, jaar uit van 'n wêreldbeker jaar en soos coach Jacques voorgesê het, dit is ons gaan hê en so dit is vir ek dink om hulle weggenees te speel en hulle het baie momentum na hulle in Nieu Zeeland gewen het in Nieu Zeeland. Hulle is goeie span, ons goed afgerig. Ek dink dit is 'n goeie toets. Kyk waar staan ons.
Thank you, guys. We are now taking questions from the floor. We are going to leave the computer online, so you will get the answers. And then we'll send out the recording a little later. So if you don't mind, please just switch off your microphone so that we don't get any sound from your side. And then any questions from the floor?
Yeah, like I said, I think the key thing for us is we had a good look at, obviously had a good look at Ireland and the challenges they pose to us. And we feel that combination with the Kwacha and the Dion, on the bench will serve us probably in this game the best. They're a dynamic team that likes quick ball, and we will have, the breakdown is going to be a big issue or big focus point in this game, I think, for both teams. And it's probably the combination that we think will serve us the best. Yeah. Yes, I would say in the last couple of, I think in the last 8 test matches, they lost twice. They lost against, if I'm mistaken, I think they lost the first test against New Zealand, obviously, and then they lost against France, in France. So yeah, they looked a lot more comfortable when they played England. So yeah, I think it's obviously something that we will look at. It's something that fits our profile athletically. We've got some big forwards, big players, and we've got a specific style that we play. and just as they would like to handle that, we must handle their agility and their speed and their quickness, So I think that's why it's going to be such an awesome game. It's probably going to be this nice test match between these two unions, and we haven't played here for a while. Last time was I think 17, so quite looking forward.
We're talking about 2017. Remember that feeling in the press box that at 38 we lost in the last time with the box?
Yeah, it's hard to forget. I think it was a tough day. Low point for us as a team. But yeah, it was 5 years ago. And I think experience now it's still going to be a really tough challenge. Yeah, hopefully there's the office.
Guys have added in creative ways to.
Yes, I think we obviously had a look at that. Like you said, they are a clever team. Big plans, little subtle things that can throw you off. So we've had a look at what they've done basically this year. And yeah, if we've done a call. Idea of more time.
Yeah, I think there will always be changes. Even with us, I mean, we make subtle changes. You think in the World Cup between the semi-final and the final, I think most teams do have the ability to change up a little bit, and I'm sure they will. But obviously, you've got a athletic profile and a skills profile that sits within your team, which gives your team the way they do things. And so I think majority will be. They will do what they do because they're good at that. That's why they're number one in the world. It's always tough to move away from stuff that you do and you the best in the world in it at that stage, So why would you change? But there will be changes. Like Luit said, they're a clever side. They will make specific plans for us. The challenge for us is how do we adapt with it to those changes on the field. To be honest, I didn't analyze the Joe Schmidt one to that extent because did have a quick look at them because there was a possibility that we could play them in the quarterfinal, but that didn't materialize. And so yeah, I can't. Like Luit said, I think they're a well-coached side. I know what they know what they want to do and what they're good at, and they do that really, really well. And then they bring that little bit of element of surprise within their game.
Long time ago, Jay Point said that they wanted an Irish player good enough to get into this team. Tell us, as world champions, that's what I would. Why are we better? Why are we in a situation where we want to?
I think the way they do things, I think if you look at Ireland, I think they've got, if I'm not mistaken, and I might be mistaken, they've got 200 rugby players, professional contracted players. So there's a lot of effort that goes into their players and into the coaching. So it's almost like precision farming, They when they identify a player in their junior ranks, they really put time and effort into a guy, into a player to develop him, to develop his skill set and help him to reach his full potential. And I think that's a strength. That's what Ireland are currently good at. They are if you look at their skill set, they've got a good skill set in all facets of the game. Like I said, everybody sees Ireland's good at that. But in the Six Nations, we did 12 points per test match in the Six Nations, which was the best in the Six Nations. So they're the best at the defensive side in the Northern Hemisphere by far. So yeah, they pretty balanced across the board.
Just help explain how you left the template from which you won all your work. You just quickly tell us what you.
Yes, I think the URC, obviously, with us coaching here, I think the URC is probably one of the, in my opinion, one of the most exciting competitions that I've ever coached in, because the subtle variance in terms of playing a Scottish team with a Scottish flavour, and then you play a Welsh club with a Welsh flavour, then you play an Irish club with an Irish flavour, then you play Italy club with the Italian flavour. So you have to adapt how you coach consistently, week in, week out, and then also the officials. Then you have a Welsh official, then an Irish official, then I probably think the adaptability, it teaches you to adapt as a coach, as a player, because some days you will play on a 4G pitch, then it's a grass pitch, then you play in beautiful weather like now, then 10 minutes later it can be lashing with rain. So your ability to adapt your game and your decision making to speak to all those things that I've mentioned now, I think that's the beauty of the URC.
Where do you rate Ireland as a line-out team?
I rate them highly. I think they've got good line-out jumpers, and they do the analysis on teams. So I think they're right up there in the normal. They're one of the best line-out attacking and defensive. I think it does give you confidence. I think certain combinations, certain plays that come a long way to get in the forward pack. And the guys coming off the bench with equal quality and different attributes that make them special in their own ways for us. But it's your last game, so you can't rely too much on that. Out in previous game, any of that.
Did you get any insights from Jason Jenkins?
Not too much. I haven't seen him in a long time, so we've just been catching up on old bull stories and just had a couple of chats.
No, I don't think we'll go there. The thing about Jason, I've coached Jason and RG actually. They were the locks in 2015 Junior World Cup in Italy. So Jason was the 4 and RG was the 5. And then when myself and Rassie actually went back to South Africa, the first test match against Wales, Jason started. And then the second test match against England that we coached together, RG started. And then RG had an absolute blinder against England. And there was only, like you had said now, there was 4 spots for locks, and it was Eben and it was Lewitt, and then you've got Franco Morster, and there was 1 slot open, and obviously then we decided to go with RG. And then we went, but unfortunately now RG last played with us in the World Cup, and it's been 2 years or how many years now, and the reason was we just couldn't wait longer. So those 2 were always in the mix, and I think maybe RG picked him a little bit back then in the day, but yeah, it's nice to have him back. He's playing good rugby. I think he also had a little bit of injury woes with Munster. Didn't get too much game time, but seems like he's over that now, and he got a couple of starts for Leinster and has been really playing well. Glad for him. And then, we obviously we've got another Salman, the youngster. Like I said, with the youngsters or the younger players, we always like to have three competitive guys in one position, and we've got we probably, and unfortunately for a guy like Salman, we've got a guy like Eben there, who's probably, in my opinion, playing really, really good rugby, and yeah.
playing Bermuda? So it's not a question. I'm just saying, is he in your mind? He's around.
Yeah, no, Dwayne is, and we had a nice conversation with Dwayne. You know, I don't think, if you look at Dwayne and his age profile and his experience, he's not a guy that probably needs more experience. He's a guy that we probably need to manage from a physical and athletic point of view to get him to the World Cup. You know, and that gave us the opportunity. And there's a couple of players of us which we made that decision on. You know, so they probably don't need extra experience in this 4 test matches, but getting them to the World Cup's probably the challenge. But that opened up the opportunity for us to get some younger players into the mix and expose them to our environment.
Guys, thank you so much. We are wrapping up this section of the press conference. I'll send out the recording a little later. Thank you. Bye. Okay, good afternoon, guys, and welcome to our Springbok press conference. Thanks for joining us. I see we've got a nice big contingent here today. Just to explain how we're going to do this, just so that we can service our media at home as well, is that the first 15 minutes we'll take questions from South Africa online. Then the second 15-minute slot will be reserved purely for media over here. So, yeah. So without further ado, I'm just going to take a couple of questions from back home, and then we'll switch over. Ashfaq, you can fire away.
Thanks, Gina. Good morning or good afternoon, Rassie and Eben. Hope you guys are well. Can you hear me? Okay, cool. Rassie, I can't hear you at the moment.
I know, I can hear you. Thanks, Ashfaq.
Okay, cool. Rassie, just 2 quick things. Firstly, are you going to change your job title this week so that you can still be a water boy on Saturday? And then secondly, you and Jacques were at that game in 2017 where the Boks lost 38-3, and you spoke about it, that you don't want that to happen ever again. Now it's a few years later, and now you in charge of the Boks. How do you see Saturday's game shaping up after what happened a few years ago?
Yeah, just in the first question, obviously it was within the protocol and the laws way back in when I was water carrier, so I'll be back in the coaches box with the coaches on the first one. And then the second one was, yeah, how do we shape up? I mean, we've got a proper hiding, 38-3, as you said, correctly so. But then the next 2 years, you know, things got better and we managed to win the World Cup. So I guess 5 years since then, both teams have changed dramatically in terms of how they do things and how they play. So obviously the way Ireland has played and you know, the teams they've beaten to be where they are currently, they are doing a lot of things right on and off the field, obviously. But yeah, we're looking forward to it. We know we're in for stiff competition, and with a crowd like I'm used to, the Irish crowd is a very respectful crowd who enjoys both sides of the game. So yeah, I think it's going to be a good one to watch, Ashfaq.
Nathan?
Thank you, Zina. Good day, gentlemen. Rassie, Ireland Rugby Union confirmed this week they'll be wearing their navy blue jerseys. Can this be resolved with one team wearing the home uniform, the other wear contrast colors, for example, white, as it was done in the past? And then for you, Eben, it seems to be raining on a daily in Dublin. How has training, or let's say preparations, been since arriving in Dublin?
Yeah, thanks, Eben. The thing is, I'm not sure. I looked at those jerseys if it will clash. For me, it looks like it won't clash, but I mean, I'm not a referee who must make the decisions on the field when it's really tight and close. I guess the guys would have done their homework and would know if it doesn't clash. You know, I just know the home team gets to wear the alternative jerseys, and the visiting team wear the traditional jerseys. So, you know, as long as the referee can see and the fans can see, and we'll be able to play without it disturbing anything. I really, when I compared the two, for me, it looked like that there's a difference, but it's not enough. Yeah, we just know we have to pitch up with our jerseys, and if there's a clash, I mean, the guys who's in charge will sort it out.
Yeah, just on the preparation, it went well. Today we obviously experienced some rain, lots of wind, and then earlier the week it was a bit drier. So yeah, I think we used to all the weather conditions. So yeah, whatever comes on Saturday, we've experienced both.
Percy?
Sien baie dankie vir die geleentheid. Goeiemiddag Rassie, goeiemiddag Eben. Ras, kan ek net van 'n vraag? 2 November 2019, die eindstryd van die Wêreldbeker was beslis geweest. Julle is wêreldnommer 1 span. Hierdie naweek kom julle teen 'n nuwe wêreldnommer 1 span te staan. Hoe sien julle sake uitspeel hierdie naweek? En soos jy asook geantwoord in Engels, wat in 2017 gebeur het is seker bygones. Hoe sien julle uit na hierdie naweek se wedstryd? En vir Eben, ek aanvaar ek korreksie, was jy deel van die klas van 2017 geweest en hoe dink jy hoe gaan dinge anders wees vir julle wees? Dankie.
Dis die eerste vraag. Wat is die eerste vraag net kort?
Ek sê dit in 2019 2 November.
Ja, okay, sorry, 2019, ja. Dis quickly Afrikaans. 2019 is iets van die geskiedenis. Ons almal weet dit was great, it was awesome, maar die World Cup volgende jaar. So alhoewel ons weet ons is die wêreldkampioene, speel ons die span wat nommer 1 is in die wêreld hierdie jaar en volgende jaar, selfs as mense dink ons 2018 gedoen het, het ons nie great gedoen in 2019 die wêreldbeker gewen. So ek dink ons almal hier het dit geniet tot op 'n tyd, maar ek dink ons almal weet die World Cup is nou volgende jaar. Dis basies. En vraag ons weer nee,
Ja, Percy, ek was deel van daai span 2017. Ek dink soos ek as ek vroeër gesê, dis tot 'n ander ballgame. Ek dink albei spanne het ander gameplans, het verbeter oor die jare. So gaan lekker toets vir Saterdag en een waar ons self kan meet teen hulle.
Mobien? Mobien? Justin, you can ask.
Thank you very much, Gina. Good afternoon, Rashid. Even Rashid, today marks 3 years since that fantastic moment in Japan. I mean, is this something that you guys have spoken about or kind of mentioned within that squad? You lifted the trophy 3 years ago to the day?
Yeah, we actually had the same question in Afrikaans. Sorry, Percy, I didn't answer it fully. Mubin, now we knew that it was here somewhere around today where, it was 3 years, but that's the point. It was 3 years. And we're now on to the next World Cup and it was wonderful and it was great, but I think we're all in the mode now of, trying to get momentum. Although we're very proud and it was a great moment in our history and we've now won 3 World Cups. The aim is now to go into the next year with a very closely contested World Cup. I think any bloody team can win it next year of the top, even the top 9. I mean, a team like Argentina beat New Zealand in New Zealand. I think they're 10th or 11th ranked currently. That just shows you, how did Scotland push Australia last week till the end. So I think the World Cup is something of the past in terms of bragging rights. I think, it's now focusing, it's just around the corner. So yeah, it's great. And if it's on a day-to-day, we didn't have a special thing about it. We're looking towards next year's one. So thank you.
Justin?
That was Was
it a vraag? Oh, sorry. Mubin, is he back? No, gone. Liam?
Hi, good afternoon, guys. Rashi, a question for you. Given the Springbok success since 2018, have you become more aware of your achievements and the legacy that you will possibly leave? Is that something that over the years have sort of increased and sort of has it weighed you down, basically? I think that's what I'm trying to ask.
I don't fully understand. Weigh you down? No, if I understand weigh you down correctly. I think I did understand, maybe not prior to that World Cup. I just know we had great players, and when I came back from Ireland, there were certainly a lot of things that I learned here that I as a coach previously didn't do right in South Africa, and which things that I think whenever you go to another country and you come back, you have some new things that those guys do better than you, and then maybe you, when you went there, brought some skills to that specific team. But I think the thing is definitely, 95 I was a fan. 2007 I was part of the box until they got into the plane, and then Eddie Jones joined them. But I've never experienced what it can do for South Africa. But I also know that it's temporary if we don't do the things that South Africa needs us to do, and to have a voice in world rugby. When I say all over the world, on the field and off the field, and our players get the best possible resources and structures and stuff that we have to sort out. So for me, yes, that lies heavy on my shoulders and on my conscience that we do always fight as hard as we can. I'm talking internally in South Africa and externally to make sure that, we've got 60 million people, and I think there's about 11 million people that are avid supporters or following rugby, so it's a massive thing, but no, it doesn't, what's the words? It doesn't lie heavy on my shoulder. I'm not sure exactly how you ask it, but I definitely know we have got a big responsibility when it comes to that.
Mike?
Good afternoon, guys. A question for Eben. Just looking at the forwards, the game on Saturday, obviously you guys have played the Rugby Championship packs and the Welsh pack. Just where do you think the Irish fit in? How do they compare to those forward packs? And do they do anything sort of different, something that you've been able to have a look at that they will bring?
Yeah, hello, Mike. I think we saw against that series against New Zealand, they've quite a strong maul. I think they maul quite a bit, and then also they've got a good scrum. They won a couple of scrum penalties in that series, and I must say that they're very clinical at the breakdown. They know exactly their job, and they do their job very well.
Ashfaq?
Rassie, just for you, do you have some inside info there into the Irish? And spend some time there. We all know about the attacking game, and they try and play the phases, but perhaps particularly with the forwards to get that front foot ball for your backline.
Well, the insights. That probably besides, I think, me knowing the Irish setup very well, but then the Irish people know me very well, Irish players and coaches, and so I don't. And Jason Jenkins is with it. I know that question will come up. You can look at it the other way around as well. When we certainly, I almost want to put it on the inside thing out of the way. Whenever you get insights, you also give a lot away. So when Jason is joining us, he's going back to Leinster, then obviously you will know a lot about the box as well. So I think that's something that people always ask. But we will never ever pick a guy just for that reason. It would be stupid to bugger around a guy's career. And then to answer your specific question on insights, I think the plans that we made, and we did certainly the analysis proper on them. But I know they would have done the same. They can't be where they are currently if they don't do that. So it's going to see on Saturday which of those two plans and tactics work. So we're fairly confident, and I know they're fairly confident. So it will be a great matchup.
Percy, is that another question?
Yes, please. Zina, can I also ask Rassie? Rassie, jy praat van 2017 is iets van die verlede, 2019 is iets van die verlede. Was dit belangrik vir die wêreldkampioene om 'n goeie vertoning op te dis hierdie naweek teen Ierland in die aanloop tot volgende jaar? En hoe dink jy hoe het Ierland oor die jare so goed geword?
Okay, en die eerste vraag, sal die mense ook wil antwoord aan dit. Ierland was eintlik, ek dink in 2018 ook nommer 1 in die wêreld vir 'n ruk. Voor die World Cup. Ek is amper seker daarvan. Ek dink al die All Blacks gewen nie, so ek praat onder korreksie. So die wêreldranking is baie keer 'n tydelike ding. Ek dink ons was op 'n stadium 1 jaar en 'n half, amper 2 jaar die wêreldkampioene, waar ons nie gespeel het in 2020 dink ek. So maar as mens verby daai wêreldranking kyk en jy kyk suiwer na hulle, ek dink Andy Farrell, en Paul O'Connell, al die ander wat deel is van hulle coaching staff is, ek weet hulle is baie particular en baie detailed georiënteerd, en ek weet die spelers hierso is pro. Dis baie dinge wat ek hier geleer het wat ons in Suid-Afrika try toepas. So en mense moet krediet gee, jy weet, vir hoeveelheid spelers wat hulle het om nommer 1 in die wêreld te wees. Maak nie saak of dit week is nie. Dis ongelooflik. So ja, ek kan baie trots wees en ons het 'n harde werk voor Saterdag om dit te verander.
Yes, unfortunately we need to get to the media over here. So can everybody please put their mics on? Right, guys, questions from the floor?
Welcome back to Warren, since you were here last time you won a Rugby World Cup in South Africa, which is obviously momentous from your point of view. How have you seen Irish rugby evolve from your last trip to where you are right now?
Yeah, well, obviously I've repeated this a few times, so sorry if I have repeated it again. I think the challenge for Ireland will always be to, the amount of numbers. There's 4 clubs, and the academies, how it works, and I think, we don't have to talk about those structures. But the one thing they've always done, even when I was way back here, I think David Nisifora must get a lot of credit for that, is how they just make players better and, make sure this guy can be a professional player or not a professional player. And they decided really quickly and early in the guy's career, and yeah, I got a real insight onto being really honest with young players just over 21, 22, making a decision that will study or work orientated or trying to be a professional rugby player. I think they're getting the results, bearing the fruits of that mindset, and also the way they control foreign players coming into their clubs compared maybe to other countries. I really think that's how they maximize their talent, and they just got better and better by it. And Joe was a great coach, but Andy is also a good coach, and having Paul now involved there, there's a lot of experience. So I think of all of those combinations, I think that's where they are currently, and they can be proud.
Just one final question, if you don't mind, in terms of the Rugby World Cup, everybody talks about that. It's down the track, we know. So does Saturday's game have any relevance in terms of that, given the fact that both teams are in the same pool?
I think it spiced it up because they gave us 38 points last time, and it was just before the World Cup, and we would have played them somewhere. And obviously, we did a lot of analysis in 2019. I think when we played Japan, it might have been Ireland there, so we did obviously analysis on them. And yeah, I just think we haven't beaten them there. I think 2012 last in Ireland. So the thing is, since 2018, we were really bad at some things. Even we had a 50% win record and lost some bad games with bad scores. So you can't actually make it relevant because it's the World Cup has been with the British and Irish Lions has been since. So this is totally two new teams. It's just other coaches. So a new game. It's just a new game.
As you were speaking to Johnny Saxon yesterday, he said Ireland are the best team in the world this weekend, obviously your world champions. Where would you rank this current Ireland team, where they're at now in terms of the best teams in the world? Where would you position them?
Yeah, look, I don't think Johnny or any of them or us will ever try and get the underdog tag. I don't think there's any benefit in trying to be the underdog tag. I never understand why people, and I'm not talking about Johnny, I'm talking about, I think he's actually one of the guys that understand that world ranking is a temporary thing that can change like that. We don't always understand how the rankings work, but when you look at the team, when you analyze the team, they're red hot. They and not blowing smoke up their arse. They're just really competitive in all areas of the game, and that's why I think if you look at our team, there's not a lot of unsettled players in this team because we know we play, and we've had to take a few chances to develop 3 players in a position, maybe one guy who starts off regularly, then a more senior guy pushing really hard, and then a youngster coming. So that's always the ideal situation in each position, but you don't try that against Ireland and Ireland.
Just on this place and what it means to you, what this country means to you. You touched on it with Mike going on. You said before Australia, the emotional time next week when you bring the medal to Anthony Foley's grave. What does this country mean to you personally?
Yeah, it's if you want to talk Castle Connell specifically, and Limerick and Cork and then the rest of Ireland, because you have to be accepted in the country. You go to a country and you come with an Afrikaans accent there, and people have to get used to you, and you have to get used to them. And then Axel passed away, and you don't actually know how the things work, and the people guide you through that. And although people thought we as a team and as a management handled that pretty well, I thought the people handled it well. Because I don't even know how a funeral work in Ireland it's much different in South Africa, and we've been through emotional times together, and I learned a lot about rugby and about personal things, and gone through a lot of things that I think if Irish people weren't the way they were in other countries, I might have said, you're from the outside here, tough luck if you don't understand it, but they didn't do it that way. They helped me. So nice to be back. I know it's not going to be easy or friendly, but I know Irish people are good people.
Good to see you. Could you speak a bit about how different this Ireland team is under Andy compared to Joe tactically? What have you seen? How are they different?
Yeah, I heard you ask the same question to Jacques. And the thing is, why one wouldn't want to answer that because you wouldn't want to talk bad about one of the two, So it's tough to compare without letting, never want to have unnecessary critical things said about. So that's why Jacques answered it the way we did. We don't want to say something. I think this team has got a physical edge on them. I think this team has got a tactical edge on them. I think this team's confident. I think if you take the experience of Johnny and some of the other guys in the team, that's well balanced and they're playing at home. And, he's built up something that, the moment I say it, I'm big friends with Joe, then it's going to sound bad. But Joe had this technical knowledge, which you just know this guy's going to always confuse you with, and they know their role specifically. But I think both of them had tactics. They beat us 38-3. So that's how good Joe was. And now with Andy, the number one in the world. So it's so difficult to compare. I just think this team's got apart from the technicalities on them, they've got a real good physical edge on them as well.
Does the fact that you haven't played each other in so long add a bit of kind of unknown to the game Saturday? Do you think it's been quite a while?
Yeah, it's well, I think that's the last time I was on Ireland, So yes, but it's actually mostly it's the crowd, and the crowd, yes, is not hostile and makes you feel, but they support their own. You can feel, the pressure of them doing something small, great, but the crowd erupts, and the weather, and then obviously the unknown. We've played them, luckily a lot of their players played them now in the URC, which give you that in-touch feeling a little bit with the way they're playing. But yeah, it's a bit of unknown, I guess, for the players as well, and the weather is a challenge.
Hi, Rassie. It's quite likely Conor Murray will win the 100 caps for Ireland on Saturday. You know well as a player and a person. Would you just achieve respect or maybe say a little bit about him?
Yeah, Murray is one of the guys. I know. He's one of the guys that when I coached at Munster, he was already a senior player, and I'm not sure how exactly it works when Andy announces the team if he'll start or not. When a guy plays his 100 test match, and he's good enough, and we normally start with a guy on his 50th or 100th test match if he's close to the other guy starting. So I'm not sure how that will work, or if he's going to be in the match at 20. It's only being announced tomorrow, am I right? Yeah. So I'm not sure if he's in there, but yes, yeah, for what he's achieved and how humble he stayed, that was the thing when I got you. I thought I'm going to get this guy. We've got to talk and be out there all the time. And he's this quiet, reserved guy, and it was such a pleasure getting his rugby IP talking to you, but almost you had to ask always. It wasn't his opinion always. So yeah, I think to play 100 test matches, even it's just done it the other day, and in any country, that's well done. And he's a nice guy and an awesome bloke, and he knows the game. Yeah, so if he gets his run on Saturday, congrats to him.
I have to ask you something more. I know 7-8 at the moment, but you created a lot of publicity over here in that brilliant Jason Sun documentary, but I still reading the dark result.
I don't know. Oh, the software. No, that didn't work coming. No, I didn't particularly think that team had a very hard edge. To be honest with you, I thought technically, and the players, you can ask him alone over a beer at the bar when you get the chance. What I was trying to explain, but I know people will think it's covering up. I thought the technicality in which they play with was their major thing that one had to counter. It wasn't maybe robustness and, in your face, that kind of play. It was really these guys outsmart you. That's the way they played. But obviously, I can't say that about the current team because they are where they are. And maybe they thought when they gave us 38-3, maybe they thought we didn't have a physical edge or we were softish, So things change as quickly.
As you have Secretly senior side, which is required to work with. You've also worked with Peter O'Mahony, who we assume is fit and is going to be playing tomorrow. You've had big adventures with Secretly, but you've had equally big adventures with Peter O'Mahony. You've seen him cry and break down and recover in front of you, in front of all of us at a press conference. What about Peter O'Mahony, the man? What do you make of him? And then just as an addendum at the end, is he up there with Secretly for you?
Oh, that's a difficult question to. As a man, I mean, you guys know him better than I do because I only coached him for 18 months, just under 2 years. But we've been through the actual passing away and having that press conference and yeah, again, as I said, Irish people, then I'm talking Irish players, Irish coaches, and Peter was the captain then. So yeah, there were times when I didn't know what to do, and he gave advice. And I think there were times when his form went up and down, but he's still there. I think he's close to 100, isn't he? At 90 or 86 caps or something like that. So yeah, yeah, good guy, guy that helped me through things when I didn't know how to do things. He helped me a lot. And then comparing him with Sia, it's just different backgrounds, different kind of players. One's a line out forward. You see us more breakdown. He sorts out breakdown on the attacking side of things, where Peter is more a guy that sorts out breakdown on the defensive side of things. So the comparison is difficult to make. I can just tell you both are very, very good players.
Question over there.
And Ozzy, how do you hope your team can challenge around in ways that maybe other teams haven't over the last few?
No, my first game was for the SA8 team in Ireland, again in Cork against Keith Wood. And Keith Wood was running, we didn't know the guy, and he ran over everybody. And I think if they had 15 Keith Woods, they would have run all of us the whole day. So we've got certain strengths that we think will be good in this game. But I don't think this is definitely a team that you can just run over with. We have to make some special plans to outsmart them as well, because Andy is an ex-rugby league guy. I think he was one of the toughest rugby league players that there were, and he's the defensive coach and the technical things that Paul brings into the game. We'll have to be smart. So obviously I don't say where I think we're going to be smart. Let's see if we're smart on Saturday. We hope so.
Their attacks have been spoken a lot. How big are challenges that you need to challenge them?
Yeah, we'll have to defend well. Our wing scores tries. We get some tries also as well. So it works both sides. If the weather plays along, hopefully we get some as well. But yes, our defense will have to be top notch, but other way around as well.
Just wondering, your relationship with Aviva Stadium, didn't have too much fun when you were there every month. So what are your memories of those times?
No, I haven't won a game yet. So I think when I was a player last, when I was part of a team that came and play here, not the Aviva, way back in the days, it wasn't called the Aviva Stadium, and I played here. But yeah, I haven't been with a Springbok team or a Munster team to the Aviva to win a game. Even against the Scarlets, the final of Pro 14, we got a proper hiding, I think, with 38 points or something like that. So yeah, not great memory. So hopefully that will change.
Guys, just take another question or two from the floor.
Evan,
Yeah.
Evan, good to see you. Would you agree with Rassi that this Ireland team has more of an edge to it than maybe previous ones?
Yeah, I feel like I said earlier, also they got a serious win in New Zealand. We all know that's not the easy thing to do. So yeah, they're definitely ranked #1 in the world currently. So it's going to be a great test match for us. And also, I think it does add a bit of spice. We're playing them in the World Cup next year. So it's almost like a curtain raiser for that game. But yeah, we fully focus on this test match. I know we still got a long end of year tour, but Ireland have been on our minds for the last couple of weeks.
Do you think either team, like if depending on the result, could get a bit of an edge going into that World Cup game next year, psychologically even?
Yeah, it's a difficult one to answer. I think the World Cup will be something on its own. I think it would just be, like I said, we last played them 2017, so you almost can expect something then in the World Cup. So it's nice to play them this year.
Cool. Last question.
Rosie, can I ask you one final question if you don't mind? I think you mentioned earlier that it's your first time back in the coaching box this coming weekend. Have you learned something about yourself in your absence from the coaching box, and how frustrating has that been? And are you looking forward to being there this weekend again?
Yeah, I've certainly learned. I love rugby. I love match days, and I love being with the guys in the change room. And I missed it a hell of a lot. And it's something that it's gonna be nice to be back. It's not nice not to be with the guys or during the week with the guys, and then the bus goes with the players, and you go to your room. So I really love rugby. I love South Africa. I like the boys. We get on well, and it's nice to be back.
Yeah, it is different. It is different, which is a great thing for us because it's something that we need to judge ourselves on, don't we? The style of play that they play because of what's down the track. I think they're obviously a world-class side. They 100% play to the strengths, and I think that's what rugby's all about, isn't it? Finding out what your strength is and applying it, and they do it better than most.
Obviously, the World Cup is a year away, and anything can happen between now and then. But can you just talk to us a little bit about the psychological boost it would give to this team to beat the world champions?
Yeah, or not. I suppose that the lessons learned are going to be vast for both sides. Win or lose, I suppose. The team that loses will learn a little bit more, I would have thought, and know which direction that they want to go, not just game plan wise, but personnel wise, etc. So that's why I think this is priceless for both teams. It's a great matchup, and it's exciting because of what's down the track. But for the here and now, well, it's pretty good as well.
Calculated risk, but a risk. Is it a risk to play Hugo Keenan, Jameson Gibson Park, and can we talk a little bit about maybe just the decision-making process around analysing film?
Calculated is probably the right way. I suppose when you weigh everything up, the injuries, the personnel that you've got, and not just that, then when people come back into camp, and it almost goes back down to zero for us, and we judge them from there, how they apply themselves, where their head's at, the confidence that they're bringing out, not just in themselves, but how that portrays to the teammates, etc. And each individual in that regard is completely different, and that's what makes the world go round, isn't it? So when you're talking about somebody like Hugo, I don't know, we could talk all day about him really, but he's the fittest in the team. We'll start there. He's probably the most diligent in the team as well, as far as his work and the confidence that gives, not just getting across his own work, but everyone else's work, and the confidence that he brings to the group in that regard. Some people can hit the ground running and be very good. Some people takes 3 or 4 weeks to be able to do that, and we believe that Hugo's in a good space to be able to perform on Saturday.
Last question then from me. Conor Murray, 8th person to hit 100. I mean, it's a pretty special milestone for him, isn't it?
Wow, yeah. See, I'm in awe of these people. Like, it's pretty special because we all know that through a career to be able to get to that type of milestone of what it really does take. And I suppose when you're a coach or when you're a player, you see all the ups and downs, and you see all the pressures that come in from all sorts of different directions, and you see everyone wants to move on to what they perceive to be the next best thing. I just think somebody who stands up to be counted time and time again, to get to a point like that, I'm in awe of it because the hardest thing is to stay at the top. Of course there's ups and downs, but what the biggest compliment that I could play Conor, I mean, he's a legend of Irish rugby. Everyone knows that anyway, and the abilities that he's shown through the years are second to none. But the biggest compliment that I could give him is that he is a top class bloke. I don't know anyone who's got a bad word to say about him. And we're all obsessed with rugby, but I suppose when it comes down to how he's managed himself throughout his career, there's some bigger things on the way as well, isn't there? And amongst his peers, which really matters to Conor, he is classed as a fantastic human being.
On the other end of the scale, in terms of that, Rob Alacom, how impressed have you been with him, and what does he offer that's a bit different?
He offers something that's a bit different. That's about it, and I suppose we all can see that. Like I was saying before about Hugo, he takes all sorts. Everyone manages their careers at different stages. Rob's been in camp for 4 or 5 occasions. Some of them has been stopped through injury, etc. And then he's gone back and learned his trade. And then obviously we'd have loved for him to come to New Zealand a trip like that would have been priceless for him. And one of the reasons why we put him on the Emerging Ireland tour is to give him a little bit more experience with how we want to play the game. And you know, when you have an opportunity like this to see how Rob handles the big occasion, to be able to do that in a good side is pretty important as well. So we feel he's ready. We feel that he can offer something different. I mean, you say about different ends of the scale, but this is how Connor's career started, you know. So it's up to Rob and his teammates to help him as well to grab the opportunity and show what he's about at the top level.
A number of years ago, in South Africa, Conor was definitely unknown for the players. The fact that the United Rugby Championship, something running now, does that change the dynamic a bit?
I suppose there's more know-how of what's coming, but I suppose of what we've come up against in the URC so far, none of these players have been playing anywhere. So we all know that international level is a big step up, and playing against the world champions here is going to be a massive step up for everyone concerned. But it's something that everyone wants to gauge themselves on, and we want to gauge ourselves on how we perform against a side that we've not played for a good few years.
And you just on Rob Atkins, so does that show, I suppose, the success of the Emerging Ireland Tour, and maybe if that didn't happen, was Rob going to be in the first team for Saturday?
No, you're just trying to give people the best chance, you know? You're trying to give them an opportunity where they can fully understand so that they're able to be at the best, you know? And that's not to say everything's going to go fine on Saturday, you know, because international rugby, it takes every single moment that you have to deal with in front of your face time and time again. So that's not to say that things are going to be perfect for him, but helping him along his journey to get to this point is a must. Is a must, and as far as we're concerned as coaches.
And how has it been for you that you have an A team and a first team and trying to balance all that, and obviously playing Friday and Saturday, and I'm sure your mind is in overdrive a little bit?
Yeah, but in a good way. Mm-hmm. It's brilliant. I love it. I love the fact. I mean, I love coaching. I love rugby. I love the players. I love the environment. So there's nothing better than having 50 lads that are not just galvanising together and wanting each other to do so well, but competing, like I've said all week, you know, competing to show each other. So the responsibility on Friday night is for those young lads, not just to perform, but to show the rest of the group that what they've learned and what they've picked up during the week, and you know that they're able to apply it under pressure. And I've no doubt lads going to the ground or whether they stay at the hotel, it's up to them. What they do the night before the game, I'm sure that's going to inspire them as well. It certainly would me, you know, sat there before a game watching your teammates who you've trained with all week. That would certainly inspire me to want to put the boots on Saturday morning.
Brilliant, thank you.
Andy, despite Connor's longevity, he's obviously lost the starting jersey over the last year. What does he need to do now to reclaim that on a permanent basis, looking towards the World Cup? Like
everyone else, like I've just said about Rob, take his chance. He's a tough old character, Connor. You know, he's steely strong mentally, and he cares a lot about his own game. And he gets a chance now. He gets a chance now to show us how he wants to push forward.
If you could just sort of summarise that battle between Johnson and Connor, how do you see it?
Well, it's a battle. It's a respectful, competitive battle that Connor has been an unbelievable ear for Jameson throughout because of his experience, you know. And you would definitely think that Connor would be thinking, I'll just leave him alone and let him find out for himself. But Connor's been all over helping Jameson be the player that Jameson has been from the start. You know, that's why I said to you, he's a fantastic human being. So, and Jameson over the last 10 days has been exactly the same back, and that's exactly what we want in our environment.
you've been able to pick the same starting pack several games in a row now. How important is that continuity given the obvious strength South Africa have in that area on Saturday?
Well, we just think it's the right pack for this game, you know, to be able to play our game. You know, that's what we want as well. And, you know, I think the respect that South Africa have shown us in their continuity of their forward pack as well says a lot. So it should be an interesting battle.
Andy, what's your take on Cheslin Colby's inclusion at 15 for the Boks?
It's great. I'm a big fan of getting the best players out there on the field and trying a few things along the way when there's stability in certain other areas where you can really try and give somebody like Colby the chance to be himself, you know. So he offers obviously a different threat. Our kick chaser has got to be pretty special, you know, and him chiming into the line, not just on the flanks, but in the middle of the field or just on the edges, the 3/4 edges, he's going to test us because we know that he's a world-class player.
Andy, you have Stuart Plusker on the bench for Saturday. What should we see in him? Do you think he'd be able to make an impact if you choose to bring him on?
He's a game player, Stuart, and he's one that over the last few years it's been tough. It's been tough for him, and it's certainly been tough enough for me as well because I think Stu's a great player. I think he's a great talent, and that position, as we know, has been strongly contested with the 3 British Lions there. Like, you know, they're great together, and to be able to see Stu thriving in the environment and send him home on it every Wednesday has been tough for him to take, you know. But his performances have never wavered. In fact, his hunger has got stronger, and the start of the season has been very bright for him. So I'm looking forward to him. I'm pleased for him to get the opportunity to show what he's about on Saturday. You just want him to be himself, you know. He plays really strong, and he's got a chance now to show his teammates that he's the real deal as far as the big time's concerned, and push on and perform really well and give us a massive headache come the Six Nations.
Take last one.
Yes, sir. He's a big physical guy, and you expect there to be like a really attritional physical game. So how important will the bench be in general to be able to bring on fresh legs and close out the game?
Well, it's always important. I suppose the feel of the game is something that we've got to keep a close eye on as coaches are concerned, because, you know, if it's one of a stop-start nature, then it's completely different. But if the flow is fast and, you know, we need an injection, then somebody like Stu will be ideal for us.
Percy.
Yeah, that's the first. Good afternoon. Thank you so much, Zina. Good afternoon, Skipper. Good afternoon, Coach. Skipper, can I just briefly ask you, how was your captain's run today? Can I just ask you, how was your week so far? Do you think you guys, as the Springboks, the world champions, will be getting any love from a capacity crowd this coming weekend? And Coach Zwandilistic, just briefly, your thoughts on the call-ups you guys had to make for your SAA side, sir? Thank you very much, Zina.
Hey, Percy. Yeah, the captains went well. I think it's been a good week. I think we've got to test.
The lads, we're live. We are live, people. It is almost time. We've been waiting all week for this. We've been waiting months for this. I mean, it's been 2 months, not been that deep of a month, but we are finally here. We are just 80 minutes away from kickoff as the world champions, the Springboks, face the world #1 in Ireland. And I see you guys have been very patiently waiting for me. It's good to be back. It's good to be live for Springbok games. This could be an absolute corker of a match. But before we can start consuming rugby and really getting excited, we've got to sort out a few administrative things. First of all, a massive shout out to BetCoza and ExpressVPN, who are partnering with us in this live stream. BetCoza are going to be giving you guys free bets throughout the live stream. And we are also going to be getting... ExpressVPN are going to help you guys watch the match. So if you are looking to watch the match, check the description. There's a complete guide on how you can watch it. You download ExpressVPN, you go and you get a free trial for Amazon Prime, and you go and bang out free rugby. It's wild. So don't sit there and like ask me like half an hour into the game, how can I watch this game? Go get yourself sorted out. Like what are you doing? Stop moving around. Go. And then in terms of Betcoza, right? Well, this is what we got to do because Betcoza wants to give you guys money. They want to give you guys free bets. They want to see you guys be happy. You know, they want to see you guys put your money. Well, actually, they want to put their money where your mouth is. So what we're going to do and how you can get those free bets. I'm going to put a link in the description. We're going to give me a score prediction. And we are then going to be giving away free bets throughout the match. So there it is. I've just dropped it in the comments. You're going to go to that link and you are going to go and give us a prediction. You can box by how many, island by how many, a draw potentially. I mean, if you vote for a draw, I think it's just boring. But, and then what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using those names. We're going to be giving you guys 50 Rand free bets, 100 Rand free bet, probably a 200 Rand free bet even. This is our feature game, so we'll make it a 200 Rand free bet for the person with the closest prediction in this game. The question is though, this game that is so huge and so important and such big matchups. The question is who is playing for each team, and I'm here to answer that question. Because let's have a look at the lineup, shall we? Instead of me reading it, I'm actually going to show you some stats there. This is how the South Africans will be lining up, and then we'll look at the Irish lads as well in a little bit. Please, by the way, before we go any further, please do start smashing a like on the video. Please start subscribing to the channel. The goal is to get 21,000 subscribers. So this stream, we need to be sitting at like 20,000, like 700 before the game even kicks off. So I reckon we could probably find us as 100 subscribers literally in the next 15 minutes. I reckon 100 of you guys aren't subscribed. So whilst we look at the lineups, how about you go and subscribe, and then we'll all be happy. And if you're happy and you know, clap your hands. Let's go. Right, so that is how the Springboks do line up today, and it's a good side. It's a very good side, very exciting side. And I think what's for me really exciting, obviously Cheslin Colby at fullback. It's a very interesting decision, and very keen to sort of see how he does go. And other interesting decision, Kurt Lawrence being back, for example. The pack's a good pack. Jaden Henderson continues to be back as well. What I'm not seeing, people, is enough people putting predictions in here, guys. Come on. There's a link in the description. We want to give you guys free bets, but if you guys don't go and predict on that link, we can't give you free bets. It's the same as like if you're doing the player ratings. If you're not going to go and rate the players after this, how can we get good ratings? So right now, stop what you're doing, go to that link, give us your predictions so we can give away some free bets. Betway wants to give you guys money, so let us do it. Let us give away some money. We're going to be giving away 300 Rand free bets throughout the match. We're going to be doing 200 Rand free bet for the person who predicts the closest score. We're going to be giving away a lot of free bets. So in order to make yourself, get yourself a chance to win a free bet, go to that link and get yourself sorted out. The big question is, obviously, we've seen the Springbok side. What does the Irish side look like? Well, wait no longer, because we are going to go through it. It's a very good Irish side, some fantastic players involved. The Aviva Stadium is looking really, really good. And this is the side that the Springboks will have to try and beat in about 9 minutes' time. right, so that is your Irish side that the Boks are playing. It's a hell of an Irish side, let's be perfectly honest. But there has been a late change to that during the week. No Robbie Henshaw, and as a result, Stuart McCloskey, as you saw there in the number 23 jersey, actually does start, whilst Jimmy O'Brien has promoted onto the bench. Gentlemen, we've got... The anthems are going. Like, it's like, we're ready here, guys. We've been waiting for this. The world number ones versus the world champions. This is going to be absolutely epic. I'm still not seeing enough predictions. I am seeing a couple of predictions. I'm seeing a lot of people backing South Africa. But if you guys want to win free bets, you've got to go to that link. You've got to go and give us a prediction so we can give you guys some free bets. In terms of our poll, we've got over 1,000 people have voted, and South Africa is very much being backed. Shock and horror. But the good news, people, in fact, maybe the best news of the century. You guys have no idea how much I'm dedicated towards my beer cause. Look at my cooler box. That is unreal. This might be my single... I might have peaked as a human, to be honest. I don't think I actually get any better. I don't think it's going to be a situation where I can ever say, oh shit, now you can see the cooler box of it. Mayday. It's going to have to sit in the bottom there. Yeah, I don't think it's actually been a situation where I've actually just been better, like more organized. I mean, that is cost double malts. We're going to be on. We're on the beers now, boys, because and girls, and those who are gender fluid, sharp, welcome. As long as you drink beer, and you don't have to drink beer, but I mean, just generally, if you drink beer, we're going to be mates, you know. So, yeah, every single time you see Siya Kolisi, like with that last our land, like, basically you want to just put the Bok jersey on, mate, point him out, I'll run through him. In this team, what do you want me to run over? You want me to go run over James Ryan? I'll go run over him. I'll run over anyone here. Where's Ty Furlong? I'm in. But also, to be fair... Oh, no, I pressed the wrong button! Back. Should I went to the cricket? Right, if you're looking to watch the match, people, check the description. Go and get ExpressVPN. Go and get yourself an Amazon Prime free trial, and you'll be able to watch the match. Guys, it's as easy as that. So many people are doing it. So many people, it's working for so many people. Don't get caught with your pants down. You've got 3 minutes. Go and sort yourself out. Go and get yourself ExpressVPN sorted so that you can go and make sure you can watch the entire match live and in HD. My only request is, though, like, don't watch it instead of me. The whole point is supposed to watch this together. So let's all together raise a glass, or in my case a can, to what's going to be a wild match. Go to some of the comments here. What are we saying here? Tukolo's saying 7 more minutes to stop, boys. Lekker, go Bokke. Randolph saying going to be last minute game. A must win for South Africa. Bokke, keep us smiling, says Madge Budrix. CPO Riggs saying, Stephen, you're going to need a lot of that beer with Creole playing. I'm back, my boy. Don't stress. He's going to be fine. Castle Lager. No Castle Double Malt, in fact. I treated myself, you know. It wasn't special, to be fair. So when I say I treated myself, like, I'm not balling out here. Beer is nice. RSA 36, Island 17 is what Dan Snayman has said. I'm hoping you're also certainly saying that on the actual official bet codes predictions, because we want to give you guys free bets. And if you guys don't go and enter that, I can't give you a free bet. My hands are tied. I mean, you guys might be shoulder to shoulder. I am hands on with a beverage. And I want everybody to please be quiet for the pre-game ritual that has become iconic in many ways. In fact, like, this is what we have become known for. And that's the pre-game ritual of just wait for it. Listen. Ah. That's a nice sound. That's a nice beer. Oh, and it's so cold. Woo! Okay, Alex, now I'm going to cook. Are you ready to cook? I'm ready to cook. Are you guys ready to cook? Some people are saying I'm too excited, and I'm like, yes, you are correct. You would be correct in saying that. Can you blame me? The buggers are about to play the world number 1 at the Aviva Stadium. There's going to be a kick clash. We're not going to be able to see what the hell's going on. That's exciting. It's going to be drama. Drama, and I'm in for the drama, because I love a bit of drama. Love me some drama. Love me, say that you love me. Love me, say that you need me. Boom, 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 boom.
McCloskey and Ringrose in the centres with Mac Hansen. Rob Balakoon just his third.
Right, Bob Bandicoot. I reckon we can really target the wings. I think they're both pretty inexperienced. I mean, not that Kurt Lawrence is very experienced. But Matt Hansen and Rob Bandicoot are by far the least experienced players in this Irish side. So, yeah, definitely a position where I reckon we can try and get stuck in there. Ireland. Ireland. It is a very cool anthem. Like, you've got to give it to them. Same as the Welsh, even the Scottish one. Like, they are just very cool anthems. Like, it is very much a bucket list thing to go and watch a game over there. Because it's just cool. But, right, what are we saying? Yeah, God save the Springboks. Says Tian. Tokyo says, I feel like SA is going to make a statement tonight. Jordan, I'm saying, Colby going to cause chaos. Zamalek, please, Lekker. But Gartas ain't it? Yeah, listen, I'm actually out of my Gart tablet. So this is like life and death stuff here. This could very easily turn for the worse. I could very much wake up tomorrow and be in a lot of pain. But for you guys, I will get through these beers. Right, Rudolph's still back in the black label there. Shifty Lad saying, I'm very apprehensive over here. We reckon we need to be about 7 up going into the last 50 minutes. Enjoy your beer all the way from here. I love to see that diversity in people. I really do. The fact we've got so many players from people around the world. It's so lacquer. So cool to see some Irish lads in the chat. Let's keep it friendly, people. Let's enjoy this game. John saying if we can get our defense to 100%, then we should win this one. Jordan reckons the Boks have got this. Here we go, boys. Shots. No, we're not doing shots. Okay, and we got kickoff, boys. They go down the middle. But it's Colby there this time, not Valilu. And Colby will find an early touch finder. Decent touch finder. Colby's first touch in the fullback jersey is a good one. We're away here, lads. Come on, the buggers. Let's graft here, boys. Let's go and let's go and let's just go and let's go get a win here, Oaks. Let's go and like make my weekend. I might just go out at 2 in the morning. You never know. You know, the night's got full of potential. Might just do this game, keep pre-drinking on the Wallabies game, just go out afterwards. I'll go out by myself. You never know. First line out, it's a pretty decent one there. Dad Shed finding his man. First to tackle there for Dane Willemse and Sia Khaleesi was on Josh van der Fleer. Thankfully, the jerseys aren't looking as bad as we thought it would be, but still, actually, no, they're pretty similar, eh? Oh, that's a very good take there from Gary Ringrose, though. Ireland find themselves in the box 22. Penalty advantage as well, so that could be 3-0. Early mistake there from the box. They go to Andrew Porter. Yeah, the jackal there from Jasper Wiese was fine, but I think it was a penalty advantage. Let's go, let's go, let's go. And they're going to go for the points here, I think. Johnny Sexton's waiting for his kicking tee. Peter Steph the toy getting that very wrong, and Gary Ring was a nice take from him. And yeah, I think the penalties for not rolling away there against Stephen Kitsoff and Damien Dale Lindy.
So Johnny Sexton, and its captain, immediately indicated he would go to goal, went over the 1,000 points in Test rugby mark. Series win against New Zealand in July.
Right, so Johnny Sexton will let up his first kick of the evening.
66 of those against South Africa. 20 penalties and 3 conversions. This to get Ireland up and running from straight out in front.
Yep, and it's looking good from Johnny Sexton. So Ireland do get the first points of the clash. They do go 3-0 ahead. And welcome Vilma Skinner, latest member of the Forever Sports Members Club. So not the start South Africa would have liked. You can see an early penalty. You need to panic though. Still a lot of rugby to play. Right, restart from Willemse goes towards the right-hand side. It's a bit of a fumble, so it will be a South African line-out. So Ty Byrne has made a bit of a hash of that. You don't see too often, so you've got to capitalize an early line-out chance here.
No Ian Henderson for Ireland, so Ty Byrne really filling in the full-on position. Got up in the air, he almost had it. Ty Byrne should have taken that.
They go to Juliet Diog in the front of the lineup. Good set as well. It's been brought down. Is there penalty advantage? I don't know. Yep, there is. Damon Dale Lindy, first carry. runs into Josh van der Fleer. I think it's Caelan Doris as well. Oh, Damien Linden's trying to have another go at it. Hendrickson now just pops it up to Malcolm Marks. Wasn't the best part. Malcolm Marks got Peter Steph and Francois Herbert behind him. Jaden Hendrickson going himself in, gives it to Jasper Wiese. A couple of Irish players needed to bring him down. Colby on the side there. And the ball goes out. So was it a knock-on advantage or something? Where's our penalty advantage? Did we really lose penalty advantage for that? That's annoying. We had a penalty advantage. I don't feel like we got much of an advantage, to be honest. We never really had much of a clear attack there. So it's a bit annoying to lose that penalty advantage. I was about to say, I'll go back for penalty. I was about to get very upset. Calm, Stephen. Calm. Drink your beer. We are going to have a shot at you, I think. No, we're not. We're going to go for the corner. See! No, I can't show the match. If I show any of the match, this stream will get shut down faster than Pimpy. So there are descriptions on how to watch the match in the comment. Go get yourself a ExpressVPN. You can watch every single match in the Automation series on a free trial with Amazon Prime with the use of ExpressVPN. It's very easy. It works. It's very affordable. So yeah, that's your best bet. Right, they got Eminet's bet this time. So a good early shove there from Ireland, but now the Blockmore's trying to sort itself out there. It's going quite lateral at the moment, so Jaden Hendricks is probably going to have to use it. I think Malcolm Marks might actually be jumping off the side. Yeah, he does go off the side. Runs into Conor Murray. Conor Murray does bring him down. Box about 10 yards short. Hendricks up to Peter Steph the Toy. Solid carry from him now. Francois Herbert, the fridge. Hendricks popping up to Lua Diaga. Good tackling so far. Now Peter Steph the Toy, another carry. He's been met in the tackle well though. They have to release ref. His knees are on the ground there. Hendricks up to Lua Diaga.